Elara had always found her Aunt Beatrice peculiar, but house-sitting her isolated Victorian home for a month was proving to be an exercise in unsettling eccentricity. The house itself was a labyrinth of shadowed hallways and dust-sheeted furniture, but it was Aunt Beatrice's rules that truly unnerved Elara. Never, under any circumstances, open the attic door, Beatrice had instructed, her usually placid face etched with a rare severity. And after sunset, the curtains must remain drawn, always. Elara, a pragmatist by nature, dismissed it as her aunt's harmless quirks. Yet, as the days bled into weeks, the house began to feel less like a temporary residence and more like a sentient entity. Whispers, faint and indistinct, seemed to slither from the walls after dark. Shadows danced in her peripheral vision, too quick to fully register. Sometimes, she'd wake to the faint sound of scratching, like fingernails on old wood, emanating from the ceiling above. The attic. She told herself it was the wind, the old house settling, her imagination playing tricks. But the feeling of being watched, of a presence just beyond her sight, grew more potent with each passing night. She found herself checking the attic door obsessively, a heavy bolted oak slab at the end of the upstairs hall. It remained stubbornly shut. One particularly stormy night, the scratching intensified, morphing into a frantic scrabbling. A low, guttural growl vibrated through the floorboards. Elara froze, her heart hammering against her ribs. This wasn't the wind. This wasn't imagination. Something was in the attic, and it was desperate to get out. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through her. She had to do something. Grabbing the heaviest iron poker from the fireplace, she crept towards the attic door. The growling grew louder, punctuated by heavy thuds. As she reached the door, a loud crack echoed, and the bolt shuddered. The door was giving way. With a surge of adrenaline, Elara threw her weight against the door, pushing it back into its frame. She fumbled with the old, rusty bolt, forcing it back into place with a desperate clang. The growling ceased abruptly, replaced by a chilling, mournful whine that slowly faded into silence. She leaned against the door, gasping, tears streaming down her face. She had done it. She had kept it in. The creature, whatever it was trapped. A wave of exhausted triumph washed over her. She had survived. A week later, Aunt Beatrice returned, her frail figure looking even more delicate than Elara remembered. "You're safe," Beatrice murmured, her eyes scanning Elara's tired face. "The house. It didn't bother you too much, did it?" Elara recounted her terrifying ordeal, her voice trembling as she described the sounds, the growling, and how she had bravely forced the attic door shut. "It was trying to get out, Aunt Beatrice, but I kept it locked in." "It's safe now." Aunt Beatrice's eyes widened, not with relief, but with a profound, bone-chilling horror. Her face drained of all color. She slowly turned her gaze to the attic door, then back to Elara, a single tear tracing a path down her wrinkled cheek. "Oh, Elara," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The attic wasn't keeping something in. Elara frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" Beatrice's eyes glazed over, fixed on a point beyond Elara's shoulder. A faint, familiar whisper, like dry leaves rustling, echoed from her lips. It was keeping something out. Then, Aunt Beatrice smiled. It wasn't her smile. It was wide, too wide, and utterly devoid of warmth. And from her lips, now stretched unnaturally, came a chorus of voices, overlapping and chillingly familiar. "Now, you are part of us."